Yeah.
Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. Very happy to bring you this particular review today. One that I didn't realize I was going to be talking about, but one I knew I had to get on and talk about. Regardless, of course, today we will be talking about the latest film, Kill, written and directed by Nikhil, Nagesh, Bhat, following an army commando named Ahart, played by Lakshya, as he tries to derail his girlfriend's arranged marriage and boards a train on the way to New Delhi, only to find a group of terrorists on the train threatening to ruin everything, and eventually it turns into a very gory, bloody, absolute jaw-dropping thrill ride. This movie, I heard, premiered at TIFF last year in the Midnight Madness section. Now, I did not get a chance to see this, but I really wish that I had seen this in theaters, because here's what happened. We were originally going to see Longlegs the other night, which I will review in a few days, and what happened was the only available seats for all my buddies to sit together, we only had the first two rows. We're not sitting right in front of the screen, come on now. So basically we were like, alright, well, we'll go see Kill. It's the last screening at our theater. It's still playing in big metropolitan areas, so it is still in theaters as of now, but we did catch the very last screening at our local theater, and I tell you, there were less than like 15 people in that theater, and we were just hooting and hollering the whole time, like just at how insane this movie is, and just how brutal, visceral, jaw-dropping. Like, there's so much about this movie that absolutely blew my mind, especially from an action standpoint. This is the best adrenaline rush I've gotten since RRR, which obviously, you know, if you remember, made my top 10 of 2022, and I'm not saying this is quite as good as RRR, but it really is just so enthralling and just really wants to make you pump your fist in the air and go, yes! It's just one of those movies that's absolutely brutal in all the best ways possible. And what I love about this movie is how it's just able to play out in long takes, and you really get to see everything. I mean, all due respect to Dev Patel, really talented guy, very stand-up dude, but I think almost this is what Monkey Man should have been. And I don't know, but they're really cooking in India right now. Let me tell you, man. If you ask me who's making the best action movies in cinema right now, I would say India. I mean, between this and RRR, there's nothing quite like it. And you know, at first, you know, you have the comparisons you could make to, oh, this is Die Hard meets John Wick meets Snowpiercer, and all these comparisons would be apt, but the way they take what you know from the conventions of these genre films and completely flip it on its head. I mean, this movie makes some very bold decisions that I wasn't expecting, and it just is all for the better. It really pulls out the rug from underneath you in all the best ways to only enhance what you're watching on screen for the second half of this movie, which is an absolute you just have to see it yourself. But really, this movie has some of the most shocking and brutal kills I've ever seen in cinema. Like, really, you don't usually get me to, like, squeal watching a movie in a theater, but this one really took me there. I really think everyone was just so enthralled, for the most part, by the action in this movie, and I really think that this is up there as one of the best action movies in recent years, top to bottom. And it blows my mind, because I didn't know this till after, but Lakshya, this is his first movie, and this dude is a bona fide action star. That dude's cut as hell, first off, by the way. But the way he moves his body, the way he's, like, punching out all these guys, doing all these stunts, it's really unbelievable, the fight choreography in this. It's so fast-paced, it's so visceral, it's so in-your-face. I just absolutely think that you don't see movies that are this well choreographed as much nowadays, and it's really a bummer, because then you get something like this and it just blows your top off. It really is just unbelievable what they achieve from an action standpoint. The hero doesn't feel invincible, even though he's like this absolute machine. You always feel like he's in danger, like legitimate danger, and I just think throughout the whole narrative proves that nobody is safe. And I absolutely love the lengths of which they go in this film. so many shocking moments that weren't just for shock value's sake. They really do help the narrative in that regard. And I think even the villains are so well fleshed out, I think. And I will get into the characters in a little bit. But I think one of the absolute standouts in the cast was Raghav Jual, who plays the main villain. Oh my goodness, you just want to absolutely strangle this guy. This is like one of the most brutal portrayals of a villain I've ever seen. Just so unrelenting, but also a much more thoughtful villain in a lot of ways. He's very much the Hans Gruber of this operation, and even that's not quite selling it, because I'm not saying he's as smart as Hans Gruber, but there's more to him than just this despicable big bad. There are a lot of layers to his character, and that is revealed through the action of these characters and what they do in the film. And I really love the way that Lakshya's character mentally torments these killers on the train. I think it causes for some of the most unique and original scenes I've seen with villains in any blockbuster or action movie. And I think this even goes further than Die Hard in that regard, which is a big compliment, I must say. This film, even though it wears its influences on its sleeve, it never feels super derivative, and it feels very original overall. I have never ever seen anything quite like Kill, and I just think from top to bottom, this cast is just absolutely immaculate. And I really love the chemistry that Lakshya has with Tanya Manikala, who is just absolutely gorgeous. Just those eyes leap off the screen. My goodness, what a gorgeous woman. I really think that their whole dynamic is what makes this movie work as much as it does. But I do think my biggest problem with this movie is I think it is a little bit light on character. It's a very simple premise, straight to the point, very effective, does its job, and over-delivers. But I think in that regard, it falters just a little bit. I was looking for a little bit more depth to this story, but then again, doesn't entirely need it. I also think that there were some technical elements that kind of were noticeable. Continuity-wise, there were some edits that didn't have good continuity cuts to them, and I could really pick it out while I was watching it. And I also think that there's just some moments where I don't really understand how people got from one thing to another, and I think they could have wrapped up a couple points a bit better. But other than that, this is an absolute romp of an action movie. Just, you're going to be falling out of your seat at just the absolute brutality of this. It's just so white-knuckled from start to finish, and I absolutely loved watching every minute of this. This is easily the best action movie of the year if we're talking about from a purely action standpoint. And I'm going to give Kill a very high 9 out of 10. This really is one of the best movies of the year so far. So if it's playing in your area, you have to check this out, especially if you're a big action movie fan like myself. Kill is an absolute must-see and is a contender for my top 10 of the year. I'm going to be straight up with you. I mean, this year has just been a wealth of riches so far, and I think Kill is just another feather in that cap. I cannot wait to see what this director does next, and I can't wait to see what comes out in the action genre for the rest of the year. But you guys let me know down in the comments below, what did you think about Kill? Did you get a chance to see this film? Is it as amazing as I'm making it out to be? Or were you not as huge on it? And why? Explain to me down there. And of course, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see movie reviews like this. As I said, I'm going to be reviewing Longlegs next, and also I cannot wait to review what is, to me, one of the most anticipated movies of the year, and probably one of the front runners going through award season at the end of this year into 2025, being Sing Sing. Going to get my review of that out to you within the next week, so please stay out on the lookout for that, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one now.